everyone, it's your girl Felicia. Hi Felicia. What's on my menu today? Homemade meatballs and gravy. This recipe is not only delicious, but it's easy to make. And it will go well over some rice, potatoes, whether it's cream potato, mashed potato, fried potatoes, or anything else you like. And I want to share this recipe with you. With no delays, let's get to it. Alright, I'm ready to get my ingredients in this bowl. I already added my ground beef, and this is 1.5 pounds. And remember, I will have all my ingredients in the description box. So this is the ground beef, and I'm using 85% lean. And I'm going to add in my yellow onion, and I dice these up fine. Breadcrumbs, and this is 1/4 cup. And gonna add some minced garlic, and this was just 2 cloves. So I got a little. And we're gonna add in 1 large egg and a tablespoon of ketchup. And I'm not gonna put in the measuring spoon, just gonna squirt about 1 tablespoon in. And next we're gonna add in some mustard, and that's gonna be like 1 teaspoon. And next we're gonna add in our Worcestershire sauce, and that's 1 teaspoon. Salt, 1/2 teaspoon. Pepper, 1/4 teaspoon. This is 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary, and I ground it up. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna mix this all together. And this is a real good recipe. So make sure this is mixed in well. So now that it's been mixed well, and we want to start rolling this. Roll it to balls. Alright, I'm ready to roll these out. And you want to roll these out like 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. The meatballs, you don't want them too big, but it's up to you how big you want to make your meatballs. And I have a lined cookie sheet with this parchment paper. And so this is probably the size you want it. Or you can make it a little smaller. Depends on how big you want your meatballs. So I'm just going to roll it and roll these out. They may not be the same size, but I'm getting them probably the same size pretty soon, as much as I can. And putting the gloves on will make it easier to roll. So you want to make sure, and make sure, like I said, when you get ready to do your onions, make sure you I put mine in my food processor, and I dice them onions up as small as I can get them, because when you're making meatballs and when you get ready to cook them, sometimes big onions, they will make them divide. And I'm finished rolling these out, and I will be back. Alright, I am finished rolling these meatballs, as you can see. And I did come out with like 29 meatballs. If I could have broken down a couple of them, film a little smaller, I could have got 30. But anyway, the next thing you want to do, we want to have some flour in a bowl. And so maybe 1/2 cup. It depends. If you need more, add more. But we want to roll these meatballs into this flour. And this is going to help the meatballs sit better when you get ready to cook them, so they won't fall apart as much. You know, sometimes they won't fall apart, but I haven't had any problems. So that's why I want to make sure you just, when you do your onions, make sure they're really, really diced small. So I'm going to roll this around. And you want to shake out the excess flour. And we want to put it back on our parchment paper. I had to think for a minute. So it won't take long. You see how fast I'm going? It didn't take me long to roll this the meatballs. And when you, instead of them trying to, you know, have them all uniform, doing them in a spoon, it's taking a long time. And you see how quick this is? And you want this lightly floured. So that's why you need to just shake that extra flour out. And what we're going to do, we're going to let this sit in the fridge for like 30 minutes. And sometimes what you can do, if you want to make these meatballs ahead of time, they'll be good. Like, if you can roll them, you know, go and do them ahead of time, put the flour on them, and set them in the fridge. And you can put them in the fridge for overnight and cook them the next day. So you can get that, you know, out the way. So I'm going to finish doing these. I'm going to put these in the fridge. And once they're done, then we're going to come back and we're going to get ready to fry these. All right, I'm ready to start on these meatballs. And they stayed in the fridge a little longer than 30 minutes. So it's probably about 45 minutes that I kept them in there. And you want to have your large skillet. And I got my heat right now on medium. I may bump it up a little bit. But we're going to add in our olive oil to our skillet. About 3 tablespoons. So the skillet is getting a little hot. So I'm going to let this skillet get hot. And I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. So I did bump this heat up to a medium high. And you want to use a non-stick skillet. That would be your best bet when you're doing these meatballs. So now I'm going to put them in. And once you put them in, you don't want to overcrowd the skillet. And I hate my skillet isn't straight flat so the oil can be all the way in it. But I'm going to add the meatballs. And you want to cook these for at least about 2 minutes on each side. So you want to leave enough room for to be able to turn these. So you don't want to overcrowd the skillet. So I can get a little bit more in. And you want to make sure they're completely brown. So I'm going to go ahead and cook these and I will be back. Whew. I already started putting some of my meatballs in this plate. So you're going to remove all the meatballs and set them inside. Y'all, the grease was popping. And you know how it is when grease be popping, you be trying to get out of the way. That grease will burn you everywhere. And but this is how they look. So I did get a chance to put them all in the skillet as I began to cook them down and move them over. And so we're going to get ready to add the rest in our ingredients. And I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. And there's some oils left in the skillet. And I'm going to get some out. I'm going to use this tablespoon and take some of this oil out. This is oil from the olive oil and from the meatballs. So I'm going to take this much I can out. And we want to heat our skillet back up. And we're going to put in the butter, 1 tablespoon of butter. And next we want to add in our onions. You don't have to add a whole lot of onion, depending on how much onion you want. So you can use a small onion. And we're going to let this cook until the onion is softened, or either when it's caramelized. So when it's finished, I'll be back, and so we can add our next ingredients. The onions are done. It took about 8 minutes. So now we're going to add in our broth. Going to add in I got my skillet on medium, put it on medium. Add in my beef broth. It's 1 cup. And I'm going to add in 1 cup of chicken broth. This is making our gravy. Stir this a little. Now we're going to add in our little seasoning. We're going to add in our onion powder, our garlic powder, and we're going to add in our Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. Stir this all together. Make sure this is mixed pretty good, and I'm going to make sure I stir it carefully so I won't waste it. And then after we get that done, and you can make sure, you know, like if you have the little brown bits in your skillet, and you can take a spatula and you can press it down. And this will make it, you know, make sure your gravy will be a little dark. If you like that deep, dark gravy. So you can, now you're going to get ready to make your roux. And you can use cornstarch and water, or you can use flour and water. And for this recipe, I'm just going to use flour and water. I do have cornstarch, but I'm not going to use in it. So I already got me some ready. And you can make your roux as thick as you want and thin as you want. Depends on if you want thick gravy or you want your gravy thin. And I like my gravy thick. So I'm going to be pouring and stir as I go, a little at a time. You want to pour and stir. And you see how it's thickening up? You know, old school, I always use the flour and water. But sometimes I do use cornstarch. And I use plain flour. So this is the plain flour that I mix with this water. See how rich that gravy is? Stir a little bit more. This smells good, especially when you do the onions and let it caramelize. So I think that's as much I'm gonna put in, and I may add more later. And I'm gonna turn this down to like medium low. Now I'm getting ready to add my meatballs back. So I'm adding my meatballs. And if it's not enough gravy, guess what you can do? Add more water, or you can add more broth. And we're going to stir these around, trying to get the gravy onto the meatballs. I got some beef broth. I'm going to add a little in. Add some more in. If you don't have enough gravy. And see, let you know just how easy it can be done. And see, it's sort of still thick. And I'm adding some more broth. So I'm just showing you that you can add more, even though you went with the recipe that was given to you. I got some of this root left. Add a little bit. Thicken it up. That's all you got to do. And so we're going to let this simmer on medium low for about 10 minutes. Or you can simmer it for 15. Depends on how long you want it to marinate. Alright, the 10 minutes is up. Look at the meatballs. Stir this a little. And make sure you did stir it along the way within those 10 minutes. And now I'm going to put some in this bowl. Just to plate it. This will be good, as I said, over some rice. Potatoes, where it's cream potatoes, mashed potato, fried potatoes, or anything else that you want to add to this. These are delicious. You have just got to try this recipe. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope to get a chance to make this homemade meatballs and gravy. I know that it will be a great hit for your family and they will enjoy it. And if you'd like to have this recipe, just look down below in the description box. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And anytime that I might stream live or upload a video, just hit that notification bell. And as always, have a blessed and wonderful day. This is your girl, Felicia. Bye.